ahead and get rolling. It's kind of nice today. We actually have a smaller group than we've had in the past, so hopefully we can have a little bit more like intimate conversation. But yeah, just a couple housekeeping items to get us started. Just as a reminder, NIRSA records these so they can be viewed at a later date and time. Feel free to utilize the chat box anytime. Just know if you put a note in there, we might ask you to elaborate. So just be willing. If you're going to put something, then we might call you out. And then feel free to unmute yourself at any time, ask additional questions, or feel free to add something, an answer or just some insight about anything else we're talking about. So just to get us started, my name is Krista. I come from the University of Colorado Springs. I oversee marketing and membership, and I'm also currently the interim aquatics coordinator. Very random, but it's Campus Rec, right? We all have interesting jobs piled in one. And yeah, I'll let my co-host introduce herself as well. Go ahead, Kendra.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kendra Moretti. I'm currently a GA at Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. And I worked with Krista when I was an undergrad over at UCCS. So I'm just excited to have the conversation. I guess I should also mention I do marketing and business operations as a GA. So that's why I'm in this conversation. And then to go ahead and get started, if everyone wants to take a moment and put in the comments, just introducing themselves, your title, and then the school you are currently at, that'd be great. And don't be shy, go ahead and put it in there.
All right, so as we get those coming in, we're also going to just start off with a poll. Last time we heard that you all were interested in knowing where people were at with the reopening process. So we have a poll going, and basically we just want to know where you're at with reopening. So you might be currently open, you may not be open yet, but you're going to be opening before the summer semester ends. You might be opening between the summer and fall semesters, reopening at the start or during the fall semester, or you have no idea. So we'll take another minute to let people answer that. And that just gives us an idea of who's present and kind of what ideas we might have on the table based on where we're at with the reopening process.
So it looks like we're all kind of all over the place here. Krista, do you know, can they see the results, or is it only us being able to see it?
When they close the poll, they'll be able to see it. So
okay.
Let's give it like 20 more seconds and we'll close that poll and show the results. All right, so we'll go ahead and end that poll, and then it should pop up for you. So it looks like there's a good chunk of you guys that still don't have an idea of when you're going to be reopened, but a lot of you all have some kind of opening date, or you might already be open. Looks like only 12%, so 4 people are currently open. So 9%, 3 people will be opening before summer ends. 10 people, 29%, will be opening between summer and fall semesters, and 6 people, 18%, will be reopening at the start or during fall semester, and 11 people, or 32%, have no idea when you'll reopen. So I just read that because the poll isn't saved when this recording happens. So we'll go ahead and stop sharing that. But we will move on. So happy to have you all here, and I'm going to let Kendra kick it off with our first question.
Yeah, so it looks like we have a mix of everyone here, which is great. To get it rolling, we'll go ahead and just ask, what are your top priority marketing related projects right now? So you can go ahead and just speak out on that or put something in the chat. Either way works. But example is this would be like a communication strategy, some signage for whatever it might be, COVID related or not, marketing for an opening day or anything like that. So if someone either wants to mention what they're doing or put it in the chat, that'd be great. So someone mentioned the rules around coming into the facility. Yep. Right now we're working on putting together signs for like the equipment that will be closed. So it looks like other people are working on that as well. Does anyone want to elaborate on what they're doing and the signage that they're doing?
This is Anthony from University of Central Arkansas. I want to give a shout out to Tara. I see you're on there. So we're open for 3 weeks. This is the end of our 3rd week. And the university as a whole went out and had made those kind of corrugated signs that you see, you know, as a yard sale or politician sign. And those are scattered everywhere in every building. So luckily we didn't have to come up with what needed to be said. The university came up with what needed to be said. We just needed to say, we have 10 exit doors. We have, 5 men's stalls in a bathroom, 5 female stalls in their bathroom, 5 water fountains around the building. And they kind of had all of these signs designated for these different areas. And we told them what we needed. They gave them to us, and we went around the building and stuck them there.
Thank you for sharing. That makes it easier, I suppose.
Hi, so Cristina Rodriguez from UT Grand Valley. We actually opened in June 1st. One of the things that we did in preparation was our director did a welcome back message. It was 10 minutes and 30 seconds long, so trying to get that going. And she just kind of talked about what to expect, all the programs and services that are available and all the changes. And we incorporated a B-roll into it where we had all the signage already placed out on the floors, and noticing like all of our equipment is spaced out 10 feet apart, and just, highlighting or emphasizing more that we're not doing 6 feet, we're doing 10 feet, if not more, in our areas. And then our hours of operation, we kind of emphasized, ours is very unique right now. We're only open Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we're only doing hour increments for us at this moment. So we're open from 10 to 11, and then we shut down for 30 minutes for disinfecting, and then we open back up for an hour. So that's kind of our realm. So we really wanted to push that message and get that going. And then we're doing reservation components, so through the IM Leagues app. So we created both in English and Spanish version on how to create an account with IM Leagues and then how to reserve. And so that allowed our push a message for folks to know. And then we also did DMs, so direct messages to all of our social media accounts that people have messaged us since early as January. We just did a personalized message to them and said, thank you so much. We just wanted to personally invite you and announce that we are open back up, and here are a couple of the videos to reference. And then we worked at the institution. The institution had its own set language of flyers and signage we worked with. So we had those, and then we create our own internal ones. And so that's actually in a PDF, both English and Spanish. And so that's kind of what we did for our opening information.
Cristina, this is Gina Wood with Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Cristina, could I ask you a question about the reservations that you've been holding? we're actually looking into a very similar setup for our recreation center. And I'm just curious how the 1 hour reservation blocks with the 30-minute cleaning has been working for you guys thus far.
We're still at 25% capacity for us. And so we have certain locations in our facility that are open right now. So our fitness floor, we did our square footage, determine what the number is. So actually only 40 people can be on our fitness floor right now. So we have, I think it's 125, if I'm not mistaken, that can be in our facility for that 25% capacity. And we've just been really encouraging folks with reservations. And then we also have 2 computers in our lobby area so people can self-register and we can walk them through the process. And we have a signage of like how-to steps as well, besides video. In regards to numbers, it's still low in certain times. So we've had 0 in an hour to almost like 30 bodies, but they've been scattered on our 2nd floor and 1st floor.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So as we're going through, feel free to drop any more questions that you have. I just wanted to start out with that big picture, big project, kind of where everyone's focused right now. Since we're all over the place, we just wanted to kind of get that first question out there, talking about some things that are obviously at the top of your minds and whatnot, have you thinking about that. So feel free to drop any other questions as we go, as we're talking about things. Kendra and I are watching those and we'll pull them over into a document we have set up, and we'll try to get to your questions as we go throughout. I did want to do a couple follow-up things from our last call, our last roundtable. We had talked about a design and file sharing opportunity for all of us. So some of us who maybe don't have team members anymore, like myself, I don't have any student staff, haven't had any student staff since May 30th. And then most of our pro staff have been furloughed. So there's only about 5 of us on our pro staff team. So obviously my responsibilities have kind of adjusted and I'm working through a lot more documentation versus having more of a focus on actually creation and design, marketing, etc. So what we decided to do, and I'm going to put a link to this in the comments, is to just go ahead and utilize the NIRSA Marketing Professionals Facebook group as the hub for this. So what you can do, I'm going to go ahead and drop that link in the comments, but what you can do is, if you're not part of that group, go join the group. I would recommend turning on your notifications to whatever you would like to have. There's not a ton of posts right now, so changing it to all posts, you're not going to get a zillion every day. But that's a place that if you're in need of maybe some examples of signage, if you're needing, you're looking at having some esports tournament and you don't really have the time to create materials for it, feel free to post an in search of post, so an ISO post, and say, does anybody have any esports materials that they can share with me? And we can either add those files in and upload them, or we can share links to where someone can go and download those. So that's going to be the hub for that. And then we also started last time working on a campus rec marketing directory. So listing all of our schools, our links, like social media, website, etc., contacts. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that link again here, also in the comments. So feel free to update that. And then there's also going to be a post in that Facebook group with a link to that. So that'll kind of be the hub to keep that updated if you have any changes or you're looking for good contacts that are in the same boat as you. So just wanted to follow up on those 2 items. Cristina, yes, I 100% agree. Canva is awesome, especially if you are not experienced with design. It's a really great resource. I actually sometimes, to get a higher quality from Canva, I'll download it and then open it in Adobe Illustrator or something like that to save as a higher quality file. But you don't need a ton of experience with Adobe to do that. And then Adobe Spark is great too for template creation. So I completely second that, Cristina. So yes, I just wanted to follow up with a couple of those items. And yes, we'll definitely try to get to questions. If you have more, drop them in the comments or hop on. But we do have a list of questions that Kendra and I came up with. So I'll go ahead and pass it off to Kendra. We kind of talked a little bit about signage, but we kind of wanted to open it up to a little bit more specific topic on that. So Kendra?
Yes. So first I want to address a question that was in the chat. David has a question about how are you balancing current and new signage around the facility? And then also if those policies are fluid, how you're creating signage that might change frequently. So if anyone has anything on that, that would be awesome to go ahead and get on. And then I'll ask our follow-up after that.
So I will say for us, I'm still working on our template for signage, but overall campus is at UCCS, they're trying to put together some type of logo to put on all the signage. So that wherever someone is across campus, if it's a COVID specific sign, they would recognize that, or some type of like hashtag or something. They're still trying to work out the details for that. So I know some schools are providing the template like we had talked about before. And then so it sounds like some schools are doing something similar to us at UCCS where they're kind of putting that brand statement and asking any signage or any, you know, I guess communication related to reopening during COVID times to utilize that as, so it's a little bit more obvious what the topic is about.
Yeah, so does anyone have like catchy verbiage or images they might be using for their signage? Are we even there yet? I guess getting a temperature check and seeing if anyone's actually at that point. I know we're still in creation, and our university like marketing has created a slogan, protect our den. But other than that, it's up to us to then find the signage and the templates and the slogans that we want to use for rec. So what about anyone else?
So if you guys haven't been somewhere where you've had to wear masks for a long time, that's going to probably be one of the things that you really are going to have to fight with as far as pushing that message, whether it's mandatory or highly suggested. So after walking around our facility, which you have to have it unless you're working out, we are working on an idea of creating a hashtag slogan that talks about wearing the mask. So we are the UCA Bears. So we've kind of thrown out a few of the, you know, hashtag wear it and bear it. And the little hand signal, right, is the claw sign with our hands. So we're thinking about getting workers and people that are coming into our facility to take pictures and post those on our social media to kind of make wearing the mask a good thing.
Thank you, Anthony, for sharing. I know we were going to talk about different kind of campaigns around that, so I'm glad you brought that up. Anyone else have any ideas or what you guys are doing for signage?
So at UTRGV, our university has specified signage that's out to the public, anything COVID related, and then we've internally created our own, which I'll attach a file to the chat. And so that this file is the reopening that we did internally. So we do have, we missed you, to stay well, and then we have please be mindful. Like those are the keywords that we're kind of using at this moment. So you'll see it shortly.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Does anyone have any other like questions related to signage or things like that? Not just answering the question we put out there. But while we're on the topic of signage, I guess if you have any other comments or questions on that topic, feel free to jump in.
Is anyone using signage to identify what equipment is open or not closed or anything like that?
So I've seen, I don't know if anyone is on here from Nebraska, but I will put a link to their video on here, and it shows their sign pretty clear what they're putting on equipment. It says something along the lines of equipment unavailable due to COVID or due to distancing standards. But I'll put a link of that in there. I'm sure other people have signage options as well.
Hey, this is Michael at Texas Women's University in Denton, Texas. We actually, on a lot of our cardio equipment, we have signs up. Every other one, we're listing that they're out of service due to COVID-19 social distancing. And on the ones that we are currently leaving available for our well, not currently, when we open for our patrons to use, we're gonna have red and green flip cards. So the green ones, after they're sanitized, after they're clean, those are the ones that can be used, and they'll flip after they use them for the red side to be up. So then that tells our staff to go and clean them. That's a little marketing trick that we came up with to let us know, hey, this stuff needs to be clean. Help us stay on top of that stuff and keep our patrons safe. Hopefully that's helpful.
Hi, this is Maria from Princeton. Hi, Krista. And for us, so we don't have a specific opening date, but the past 2 weeks, our staff, all of our staff has been in. We basically personally reorganized all of our equipment and measured out specifically at least 10 feet minimum already. And so I've been working on signage that will be very specific per room. That will be a large poster, and then our main space for cardio equipment that's more impacted, same thing as you, Michael. We have a sign that I'm creating just saying like stop, like a big just red stop, machine not in use or whatever we have. And we also blocked off equipment in a specific way. We're trying to figure out the best ways, including water fountains, because that's a big thing too for from our environmental health services that asks people to reuse or to use the refilling station rather than the fountain. So we're planning a way of doing that. Some other things is that we're thinking of creating a card, a handout mini card that lists out our specific areas and what equipment's available and how it will be used. And then behind it is our general policies. And that's something I just drafted up today, but it's going to be in the works just because we're not in a rush for it. And then majority of our signage that I've been using has been implemented from the university in terms of specific verbiage and their graphics that they would put in it. So we have signage that goes in each like for the bathroom. It explains how you need to have space in between each stalls and then how to wash your hands properly, etc. So getting there. It's the beginning of things, but yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, friend.
If you are like, if your facility is limiting capacity, are you having some signage somewhere to kind of say what your capacity is in your building somewhere?
I can follow up with that. We have a specific sign created by the university, and we just have to input the number. So later, once the guidelines are set out, our facilities director will go through, or our facilities team will go in and measure out. I think Cristina mentioned that, or I forget who it was, but they mentioned it, and we're just putting that per room. And maybe include that on the handout, but I'm not sure entirely for the building overall.
Yeah, at UTRGV, we have a max capacity signage. We went ahead and got them laminated as well, so as they continue to change, they don't have to worry about us reprinting. And then we converted into a Word document so they can make their own adjustment if they needed to. It's in the attached file I uploaded to the chat, so it's one of the documents in there. And then we also added a map. So we took our layout of the first and second floor, even our outside amenities, and we put it, we have our own poster printer, thankfully, so we were able to enlarge it. It is located in 3 locations in our facility, one at the main entrance as you walk in, and then we have one on the first and second floor. And so we laminate that one as well, and we have expo markers highlighting the locations that are available to them. We're not emphasizing the negative aspect of like a lot of like X's. It's more of, yes, these are all the green lights to go. And then we kind of put the number of capacity on there so we can always reuse. And that was just like our initiative. The next step is to place it on our website to do.
So Brooke has a question. If anyone is requiring masks at all times in their facility, does anyone have an idea how you're using verbiage to convey that? Because we know how happy users are going to be about that. So if you have insight, let us know.
Anthony from the University of Central Arkansas, I'm like raising my hand, just, that's the #1 issue. If you're going to deal with anything this whole time, it's going to be masks. So literally you have to be screened as you come in, and we have a sign right there where you walk up to be screened that says masks are required in the facility, except when actively working out or actively exercising is the terminology in our Department of Health's handout. And then of course, with all the other signs that we have in the building, as I told Tara, you can't swing a cat and miss one. In our building, it talks about masks and talks about masks and talks about masks. That is your #1 issue that you're going to probably deal with patrons.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. Well, if we don't have any other questions or comments on signage, we will go ahead and move on. A couple of you have already mentioned this. I know I've even mentioned it, but talking about a video reintroducing the reopening of your facility or facilities. So I'm actually, I put this question in here to kind of ask those who have already made one, just kind of like any advice you would have for us, maybe the equipment that you've used, any apps that you would recommend for people who maybe aren't like professional video producers and editors, and anything that kind of you learned along the way that you might want to pass along. And of course, if you have links to your videos, feel free to drop them as well. But yes, I think that this is something that a lot of us are interested in doing or planning on doing if you haven't already. So yeah, let us know your experience on that.
I know I've talked about videos at UTRGV. We've just been great. I've been lucky enough that we've been able to keep some of our student staff, one of them being a videographer, so that's kind of helped in the creation of all those. But going live is probably the next best thing. And then also our institution and reaching out to their marketing department. All of our recs are highly coveted. It's a great recruitment effort. And so I know just reaching out to our marketing team and saying, hey, if I didn't have my videographer, of can you create this video and so forth, they would be down in a heartbeat. They're actually asking us to record next week for recruitment efforts, and then we can get that footage and use later on. So I guess if you don't have anybody, maybe the university's marketing department might be a location to ask for assistance.
Awesome, thank you. Looks like Tara also had an additional question about like, have your videos actually been viewed by patrons, or is it just your staff, you know, that's like checking out your video? And what platforms have you shared videos on? Okay, well, if anyone has an answer to that, drop it in the chat. I'm not going to keep you on for forever if no one wants to talk about it. But yeah, also I guess I'll just plug the Facebook group too. If you wind up making a video that you're super proud of, definitely share it there. If you have more questions about that video, yeah, that's a really great resource for all of us to use. It looks like Cristina said YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Let's see, Instagram TV, YouTube, Twitter, and the website. Yeah, for the most part, it's kind of what I've noticed. I don't have one yet. I'm going to be making one. But a lot of people, their Campus Rec websites, it's either like on your homepage, or if you have a COVID specific page for your department, it's right on there. And that's like a good, I think, might be a good place to put it. But I think it's going to definitely be interesting, right? Like trying to get that out to everyone, because students are on one platform or a couple. And then you have your faculty staff membership that are definitely not on the same things as students. So I think for that type of video, when you're trying to get everyone as much as possible that might be entering your facility at any level, at any phase of reopening, you'll just kind of want to blanket that at a lot of places. We also have Reach TVs, David, so that's a really great, so Reach TV is basically there's like a box that can plug into your TV, and you can put up slides, you can put up videos, and it's completely cloud-based, so you can update that from anywhere at any time, and you can also schedule things. So if you only want it to be viewed during 11 to 4, or if you already have something produced and you and it's finalized and you want to schedule it for 3 months down the road to be made available live, or only Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it has a really great capacity. So I'm happy to answer more questions about that if you want to send me an email or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, TVs are a great way to put your signage up. I think we'll probably have our video to some extent play on that, but we're also hoping most people will have seen our video before coming into the facility, or at least we can reference it, because it's about what to expect before you come. So yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys posted. Yeah, cool. Well, Kendra, well, let's see. I think we had one question come in that I wanted to answer or get answered first. So this is kind of not what we were talking about at all, so shifting subjects. Someone asked if you all have had like really good success with any of your virtual group fitness classes. What do you recommend for promoting those? So if you've had higher attendance than maybe most of us, like I would say my classes, we've had like 10 or less. So if you have had like really good success for numbers for you all, what's been successful for you in promoting maybe not even just your group fitness classes, but any of your remote programming? Cool. So Gina said that they're kind of using multiple platforms. So I know some people who have done like Instagram lives and Facebook lives at the same time. So it looks like Gina said, I think I'm saying your name right, Gina, on Instagram live and Zoom at the same time. So kind of trying to cover your basis. Like, I guess if someone doesn't have social media, having a platform that they can still access without needing to have an account. If you do anything on TikTok, I know that they don't have to have an account to access that. You don't have to sign up unless you really want to start making videos. So that's a plus to TikTok. Anthony said esports and the virtual 5K are more popular than Zoom. I've heard that the virtual 5Ks have been really successful, especially because they can kind of, sometimes you let them plan their own route, right? Or you have recommended routes for them, but they can do it from anywhere, anytime, and they don't have to see anyone they know, or they can see everyone they know, kind of up to them. Let's see. Getting other departments involved and promoting those have been helpful. I guess David's interested in knowing how has participation been in your social media live classes. I'll say from my perspective, our live classes have not had that many views in real time, but then we'll keep them up. So like we'll save the Instagram lives onto IGTV, and those get a lot more views. So a lot of people just can't be there in real time. Same with our Facebook. We'll keep those up for 24 hours afterwards, and we get a lot more views and interaction. So comments, etc., reactions from that. Cool. So I think we got that question answered for the most part from everyone. I guess while we're on the topic of programming and marketing, whatever programs you have, whether you're at the point where you're doing stuff in person, you're looking at doing that, or you're just sticking to the remote. Does anyone have any other questions along that type of topic before I guess we move on?
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and move on. If there's more questions, we'll put them on our notes and then get back to them. This question kind of goes along the same lines, but more on the social media end. So talking about Instagram TV, who's used it and found it successful? And that could be either in the group fitness classes, or if we're talking about, you know, director videos and things like that, whatever it might be like. Are you having success in that? And then are you willing to share your Instagram handle and give any tips on what worked best for you? And maybe that's even like times of the day, anything like that. It can be very specific or very general, whatever works. Maria, do you want to elaborate a little bit on your comment?
Yeah, so I found that with IGTV, our content has been way less successful compared to normal video content. And I assume it's because, well, I've only attempted to do it twice, and each time the amount of views and engagement has been really low, even with having it previewed onto the grid. My assumption is it's because it doesn't focus specifically on our students. where that's like our peak kind of content when we highlight our student staff and they're the ones who are interacting and speaking. It's our pro staff that is on the content, so it may not be as relatable to our audience is my assumption, as well as it just being obviously longer than what you could do in terms of a 30-second video or less and having higher engagement that way. I've tried different tactics in terms of how it appears. I mean, you can obviously change the cover of the video on IGTV. It's really cool and series wise, but I think there's like more thought that needs to go into it when having a strategy, rather than just, it's a video that's longer than a minute, let me just post it and hope that it kind of goes out. So yeah, I don't know if anyone else has been having those has similar experiences, or like formatting and the content itself as to how to get more views. I know you can do previews and whatnot on the stories, but I also think another part of it is like not being able to specifically like tag accounts. You have to like comment them in the section, or in the comment section, so you're not engaging other departments or more people that you usually would on a regular feed post.
Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I don't run the group fitness program, but I teach at a bar studio in town, and we've been using IGTV mostly to record our live Instagram classes and just have it up. And honestly, for me, it just feels like it's kind of like a lazy way of posting something to IGTV. So I 100% agree with you in that it needs to be more intentional and planned out, because a lot of times when you're doing lives on Instagram, it's not super great quality, right? And music is delayed. It's just not, it's not a produced video, right? To any extent. So, and I've seen a lot of people just kind of do that, and we've done it too. I mean, clearly, but it's definitely not the same high quality content that I would put on my grid. And so I think that that's kind of why I've been more hesitant for us at Campus Rec to utilize IGTV, is because it's time consuming to create something like that, but also something that like I would want to have in my grid. I'm very proud of how the grid looks, but maybe having something that like a separate IGTV strategy, a very specific plan, this week is this, etc., might be something that we look at in the future, but we haven't had too much success with it necessarily getting us more views or followers. So yeah, Gina, I like that. Filming something very specific to be posting somewhere, whether that's YouTube, Instagram TV, or your TikTok, whatever. Having the higher quality definitely to come back to and have as kind of a staple class. Awesome. Rotating on the website and put them to YouTube. Cool. Yeah, I think that's great conversation. So if you have anything else on Instagram TV, IGTV, feel free to drop that in the comments. It's something that kind of comes up each time. So we wanted to talk about it for just a little bit. I saw a few comments on this earlier, and someone also asked this question, so I want to make sure that we get to it. So again, switching gears, someone would like to know how you are connecting with or marketing to new entering students, so first-year students or transfer students. Orientation is 100% online for them, and we're doing some virtual or Zoom resource fairs to connect and answer questions. But does anyone have a strategy right now for reaching those newer students, or even retaining are the ones that have utilized our facilities in the past?
Hi, Krista. This is David at USC. One thing that we're doing with our orientation department is we are creating a web page just for orientation. So it's going to be something that they send out to new students and transfer students coming in, since they're doing all their programs virtually. And that'll allow us to have kind of everything that we want to get out to those new students in one place. And then we'll kind of link off that page and take them to different pages on our site for other info if they're more interested. Sorry. So that's one thing that we're doing along with orientation to kind of get specific info out to those new students.
So I will pop in. All of our orientations are online as well right now, and they probably will be. They have transferred all of it basically onto Canvas. So there's different modules, and they've created kind of like a resource fair within those modules. So ours is one of the ones that's featured on there, but it sucks because we really have no interaction with anyone, and orientation is not really giving us the opportunity to do that the way they just have it structured. So it's a little bit out of our hands. So we're just really trying to make sure that we are utilizing social media as much as possible, using the hashtags that our university uses. And, you know, as we see people post, like when they choose their college and they tag UCCS, we try to say, congrats, we're excited to see you. Like, it's really about the engagement and interaction for us on the social media side of things. Our alumni relations office is actually also, I think they're insane for doing this, but I'm also participating in it, is they're sending a handwritten letter to each incoming first year student. So the letters that I have volunteered to write, of course, I'm going to be putting in there, can't wait to see you at Campus Rec, because we're the best department on campus. Everyone knows that. We're the fun department, right? So that's kind of my extra plug, but I don't know, maybe some of you all have something similar going on with your orientation or alumni office where they're really trying to actually reach out individually. I'm sure you all are in the same boat of trying to get enrollment numbers at a safe place for you guys to be able to operate with enough staff and keeping the staff that you have. So yeah.
So we're also using Canva, using Canvas for the orientation, but they scheduled it out, and we're like we're literally the last orientation that they go through in their online sessions. So like we're kind of struggling with trying to figure out how to make the content engaging where it's not completely overwhelming, because we know they're going to be pretty much tuned out at that point. Do you have any suggestions or guidance on that? Anyone?
Well, if you do have suggestions or guidance, drop it in the comments. Sorry, I don't really have much else to say on what other than I already said on that. Let's see. But it looks like some other people are utilizing social media to reach out. Also, David, we love the dad life. We love the kids. It's real. It's a real thing.
Thanks.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess if you do have any other, ideas to reach out to those students, I think something, not just about those first year students, but it's also the students that have utilized our facility and maybe have some fears or anxiety about coming and utilizing our facility, because our types of facilities are really high touch base and, getting close to people and breathing hard and all those things. But a lot of that falls into our laps for how we're communicating and messaging out to those students. So, I'll definitely be relying a lot on our previous student staff. We had to lay off not lay off, but we had to terminate all of our student staff beginning May 30th. So we're hoping to be able to bring back on student staff for the fall semester. Otherwise, it will be 5 pro staff running our building, which will be crazy. So I'm going to hopefully be relying on our student staff to kind of, utilize some of the messaging that I would like to put out there and get a feel for how that's perceived and received before necessarily posting everything, because as much as I would like to think I'm 19 years old again and I'm in college having the time of my life during a crisis, I'm not. And so what I think might work probably may not be. And so getting their opinion is going to be really valuable to me for sure. So Jill said sport clubs recruit a lot during the new student orientations. So how are others going to be supporting their student clubs with new student recruitment efforts? And of course, she's hoping that sport clubs are going to be able to practice and play this year. So yeah, how are you planning on supporting your student clubs?
Hi, this is James Alexander at Loyola Chicago. I think, what a lot of folks are probably going to do is we're going to do some virtual club fairs, week of welcome. We're actually having an event just for freshmen, and that'll be before the first week of classes, and then the week of welcome. At the end of the day, I think out of our 25 clubs, 20 of them are high contact sports. So the chances are pretty low. We're actually going to be having them and not even practicing for the fall. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge as well. But I think that's kind of what we're looking at. And then we're looking at doing some virtual challenges. I know Intramurals is going to do some e-sport tournaments. And so we're going to create club sport divisions in that just to keep them engaged. And some of the feedback we've gotten is the clubs want to have events where they can compete against each other, like Club Olympics and stuff like that. So this may be the opportunity to do that, right? Because one of the challenges is they're always traveling and never around and never enough time. So this might be an opportunity to keep the clubs engaged through e-sport tournaments and virtual Club Olympics and some of those sort of things.
That's great. I saw Mo put in that they're looking at doing an Instagram swipe club fair. And of course, I'm like, what is that? Does anyone know what that is? They had to go, so. Okay, well, if anyone figures it out, let me know. I'm interested. Yeah, I haven't had too much interaction with our club sports. It's been more focused on operations and just getting our building up and running. And we don't have anyone, our club sports and our intramural sports coordinators, managers are part of the ones that were furloughed. So I know that that's definitely on our back burner right now, but that doesn't mean that the clubs aren't operating and already recruiting. So every once in a while I'll see like our figure skating club is really active, which is not as much of a contact sport. So I think that they're hopefully going to be fine. But, as they start to recruit new members and stuff, they'll do features of their new members or their, leadership board for this year. And we try to share that out, or at least like it, comment it, say we're excited for them, and just show them that we're still there to support them. And then we're also working with our advancement team. So that's like marketing for our entire campus, to work on creating a package that like a logo design package for all club sports that they would get at the beginning of the year. We would update them. So it would be kind of like a brand package, I guess, is kind of the similarity. And they would get logos to use that are specific for them. Great place to order from, just kind of all that in one place. And so we're going to be trying to use this time, as they're not as busy with their clubs, to help them with their marketing for that and create that package pre-made. We would update it every year, and then as we get new club sports, we would obviously have easy way to create those rather than making them individually as clubs need them. So that's kind of how I'm supporting them on the back end. But going to be interesting how this year goes for them. And I hope that they're all still very successful, contact or not, you know. Cool. So we have about 5 minutes left. So I wanted to do just a couple of plugs for everyone. I know I've talked about it before, but the 2020 recreation movement is still happening and is going through mid-August. And they're still open to having other schools be involved. So I'll go ahead and put that link in the comments. The 2020 recreation movement is really awesome, especially if you don't have anyone to provide programming right now for your department. It's fitness classes that are offered by over 100 colleges and universities across North America, and they're pre-recorded or live, and then we also kind of have like a rankings board of how many minutes logged from everyone. So if you are interested in joining on that, you are going to email Emily Hughes, so I'll put her contact information on there as well, but that's been a huge way for us to stay active during this time, and also support each other, right? Like I see plenty of you guys posting about it, taking our classes and vice versa, so that's super exciting. Again, that Facebook group, go and join it. And I'm gonna leave Kendra and I's contact information on here. So if you do need to reach out to us, feel free. And I'm not sure if we'll be doing another one of these in the future. We still kind of have to wait for NIRSA to kind of let us know if they're wanting to continue on with those or not. But we will happily host one again down the road as things are ever changing. Danielle, I think the recreation movement ends, I want to say it's either August 13th or 16th. I'd have to look, but it's mid-August. But if you're really wanting another one of these, if you want to help, if you want to hop on with Kendra and I and help us moderate, feel free to reach out to us. But we're a resource. I know a couple of you have emailed me in the last month. It's been insane because of me losing all of my staff and pro staff. I will be a lot more available this coming month. So Kendra and I are happy to do this for you guys. We're excited to see you all. If we can be a resource to you in any way, just let us know. But other than that, I'll give everyone just a few moments to save the chat if you want. Just know that it'll also be saved with the live version of this roundtable when NIRSA posts it. But other than that, I hope you guys have a really great day, and I appreciate you all being here.